Hey there, in this lesson, we'll learn what an HR operations specialist does. My name is Josh, I'm the founder of HR University. And before we dive in, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and that way you can keep up to date with everything HR. Now, an HR operations specialist deals with a specialized area within the HR operations and administration. They focus on strategic development, departmental efficiency, and employee management. In addition, the HR operations specialist works under the supervision of a more senior position, like an HR operations manager. And most large organizations look for this role so the HR department can handle more significant workloads. However, it is a specialized role, and becoming an HR operations specialist requires experience. Since the human resources field is broad and organizations are complex, HR positions evolve into multidimensional jobs, to say the least. So to pursue this career, you must understand the landscape and apply for the right job opportunities. Now let's go ahead and explore further. As per the name, different operations specialists specialize in various HR areas. The first one is overseeing the salaries and benefits of employees. The second is formulating and implementing policies on departmental workflow. And the third one is recruiting suitable candidates. Another one is improving interdepartmental employee relations. And HR operational specialists also ensure that the HR department follows best practices and has satisfactory outcomes. All these aspects are crucial for the human resources department to ensure that the organization is sustainable. Now let's move on to required skills. HR operations specialists must exhibit strong learning, exploration, and research analysis skills to ensure adequate processing of all HR operations. As an organization's productivity depends on the HR department, HR operations specialists need excellent organization time management skills to help with business continuity. Moreover, to ensure an organization's legal compliance with state rules, operations specialists must understand federal and government labor and legislation laws. In addition, they must have strong project and operation management skills to handle their responsibilities. And finally, an HR operations specialist cannot function as a specialist if they don't exhibit fundamental technical HR operations skills. Now let's talk about responsibilities. The HR operations specialist has many traditional HR tasks. However, the role also involves focusing on the human department's effectiveness and whether it is implementing its policies. The responsibilities of an HR operations specialist differ from organization to organization. Now let's go ahead and explore the primary responsibilities that an HR operations specialist has. So the first and foremost role of the HR operations specialist role is to represent HR operations across the organization through strategic planning. They must also formulate how the HR department implements procedural changes. Therefore, this position represents a team across strategic development meetings. This role must also communicate all the strategic plans to the HR operations team. And the role requires creating an effective communication bridge between the team and the organization. Next comes the development of efficient HR operations workflows and practices. And first, an HR operations specialist manages how the department carries out its tasks and whether they can improve. And therefore, they gather and analyze central productivity data. After that, the HR operations specialist transforms results into actionable strategies for the HR department. Additionally, they weed out inefficient practices. And the whole HR operations team monitors the department's administrative procedures and works on how to improve. And finally, the HR operations specialist must be data-driven and use the right analytical tools, especially as the role involves strategic planning. The third most important responsibility is to ensure legal and regulatory compliance. Therefore, this role, so as an HR operations specialist, you must understand all the critical legal compliance records and policies so that the operations team can create strategies and run smoothly. Additionally, the HR operations specialist must know every compliance process so that the organization is always at minimum legal risk. This specialist has to take care of employee grievances or disciplinary actions to ensure the process follows legal standards. Moreover, they have to stay on top of the employee-related activities that any department takes in which can land the organization into potential legal trouble. And then we have supporting the HR operations processes. So first here, we have that they maintain, update employee records, and they oversee HR transactions such as hiring, onboarding, offboarding, promotions, reclassifications of data, and much more. In addition, they conduct exit interviews and use feedback to improve departmental procedures. And HR operations specialists also work with the payroll and benefits team to effectively administer compensation incentives. And they research salary ranges for different organizational positions to support employee relations. And as an HR operations specialist, you have to supervise the existing implementation of these HR functions. However, in this role, you must also look for inadequacies and suggest improvement plans. And last year, let's go over the usual misunderstanding that happens between an HR specialist and that of an HR operations specialist. So both roles overlap in terms of responsibilities. For example, an HR operations specialist handles any primary HR function and specializes in a particular aspect of HR, just like an HR specialist would. However, they also manage departmental processes and contribute to handling the administrative workload, unlike a regular HR specialist. And whether you want to become an HR operations specialist or a traditional HR specialist, you need proper knowledge and skills. And while there are many ways to acquire these crucial prerequisites, getting an industry standard HR certification is a great option. So take a look at HR University and other supporting universities that do provide great certifications to get you up to speed and set you on a path for success. And if you feel like you have a better understanding of the HR operations role after watching this lesson, make sure to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to our channel. That way you can keep up to date with all of our lessons on how to become a great HR professional. And again, my name is Josh. I'm the founder of HR University, and I'll go ahead and see you in some of our following lessons. Cheers.